Hey everybody, I'm Steve from Bishop's Auto Body. It's Monday, sun's out, and today we're working on a 2007 classic style GMC Duramax. This truck's a little unique where it's the extended cab short bed style, smallest chassis you can get with, at the time, one of the larger motors that they made. And if you're a Duramax or a diesel enthusiast, you'll see why this truck's important in a few minutes. Come on in and check it out. All right, one of the common problems on this style truck is that the cross members rot out. These frame rails are very thick. They're open channeled and they do very well with the laminated steel that GM makes them with, but in Maine, all the salt and corrosion gets in there and it separates and delaminates a lot of the metal. When you have the bed that sits on top of this portion of the frame, it collects a lot of the things that you see on the road, the slush, the grime, the pine needles, whatever it is, and it holds up in a lot of these areas on top of the gas tank. You can see the hole in this cross member right here. It has a little bit of all of it. You can see the salt that's buried into the pores of the metal. You can see the old pine needles. You can see a bunch of dirt, oil, grease. So a lot of companies will sell these aftermarket style cross members that we can cut that old portion out and we can weld this in and get its strength and structure back. Another common issue with this style truck is the door pins. The way these hinges are set up, they're a three-piece style hinge. They're welded onto the actual structure of the cab. They're welded onto the door, and there's a mid panel that's welded on, that's pinned in to the inside of the hinge. And these hinges wear out, and these pins have to be replaced fairly often. You can get these kits with these pins. These are the bolt style pins. They'll actually allow us to tighten them up, space them up, and get the door to open and shut appropriately without any of that sag. An often overlooked situation for these trucks with their ride is that the cab mounts. The cab mounts will rust out, break away, the bushings will be no good, the washers that hold them in place will be no good, and then as your truck goes over bumps, it'll actually lift off from the frame a little bit because all of this is now all eroded and broke off. So they make these kits, and we can replace everything with all new hardware. Give your truck a better ride and actually keep it onto the frame. We have installed new aftermarket CAPA certified front fenders on this truck. Aftermarket isn't usually my favorite option for front fenders for GM trucks, but based on the age of this, where this is the 07 Classic, it was the only thing that we could actually get our hands on. So before we installed them, the inside of the fenders were all sanded down, primed, and we used a stone guard, chip guard, to coat the inside and help us with the corrosion. An advantage of this style truck when they offer rust repair panels is that we can get full panels for the rocker panels on these. If you take a look, you'll see that this panel was installed completely. We put the whole panel in and we were able to attach it onto the pinch welds and put things where they needed to be, so we had the most metal, the most structure to offer when we reinstall everything onto this pickup. So here's the old rocker panel that we cut off this truck. And you'll see here, this is the inside of the E-coat of the factory GM panel, and you can see where someone has cut that at some point in time and had put another rocker panel on it that didn't hold up. You can see the rust here where they had welded it together. Here's some of the MIG wire that they had welded it on with, and you can see the rust in the old original portion of the panel that's left where they had attempted to put a new panel on and didn't carry enough of the panel in to actually make an effective repair to do a good job and accomplish the mission that they had wanted. So on this style truck, they came factory with fender flares, very common. You'll see that this fender flare goes over this fender like this, and this is how we found it. We pressure wash everything before we take it apart. So in the course of our pressure washing and taking things apart, we found that underneath that fender flare, there was absolutely nothing left of this front fender, which is why we replaced the fenders with the new ones that we have now. All right, so here you see we have our 2006 2500 HD that we've been working on. We have the extended cab doors off it right now. It's very common for these to need some repair. This door was rusted on the bottom, and we made a new panel and got that custom fit onto that, so the rust and everything's cut out behind it, and we'll do the refinish work on this so it looks just the way it's supposed to be. Let's talk about the inside of these doors a little bit. These doors are very very commonly known for not opening because the latches will stick. So you'll see we got this all open and set up here. We're going to replace these latch mechanisms with some new ones. You'll see these latch mechanisms here are in a lot better shape than these old rusted ones that you see here. So for the last 15 years or so, those haven't been getting used enough to stay exercised and to be working and opening the doors. We're doing a little bit of rust repair down here on the inside, a little bit of fiberglass just on the inside where things are a little pitted and a little rusty. You see there's a little bit of purple inside there. That's some rust treatment that we put in before we put the fiberglass in. The front bumpers for these style trucks are also known for getting really rusty and rotting out quite fast. You see we got a whole new bumper bar set up here. We've put on, we're undercoating it right now from the back side. We're using a undercoating that's a wax oil that dries, so we spray it on, it gets on all oily, and then over time it'll dry. That type of product is a lot better for that application because it won't peel off of the chrome. It adheres into the pores of the metal and it won't peel off the chrome as time goes on. Over here to the truck, we've got some new shocks. You can see we've been doing a little bit of frame treatment. You see how it's all dark and purpley there. We've done some, scraped it all down and done some rust treatment on it. It's had a lot of coatings and undercoatings done on it before. So we're kind of limited with the types of products that we're able to work with, but this is just the beginning. Now that that's all cleaned and etched out, we'll wind up covering that in wool wax. You see we've got our full rocker panels on and our new fenders on. Alright, so here with the cross members that hold up the gas tank, we showed you in a previous clip what we were going to be replacing and what we're going to be doing. These are these new pieces that are installed, and they also have new gas tank straps installed as well to hold those up. So this is the bed we're going to be putting on this 06 2500 HD. This came out of, I believe, one of the southern states, but it's not rusty at all. Something really common is for the taillight buckets to be rusted out on this. You see the shape that they're in. It's really good on that side. And then if you take a look in here, inside the wheel well, and then up in through here in the cross rails, there's no rust there. You can see it's been sitting around for a little while, but it's in really good shape. So this is going to be a really nice donor bed for that truck. So here we have the front of the truck with these front bumper brackets. We replace these that hold the front bumper out. You see the old ones, subject to being rusted out, not even an end to attach it to. So we were fortunate enough to get these new aftermarket replacement brackets. This will keep our bumper on straight. All right, here we have the top side of the frame where we did these cross member replacements. You get to see it from this angle with the new brackets, the new shocks, and the upper portion of our frame mount here. Our new cab corners have been put on. We put our doors on in primer with the cab corners for fitment to see how the lines were and to see what we were going to need to tweak. We did wind up needing to tweak a few things, we put our door pins in, and that solved our problem. If you want to take a look, you can see right inside that jamb there, we got our new door pins in place, and that took care of a lot of those. All right, everybody. Here's our Duramax we've been working on for the last few weeks. You see the new rear bumper that we installed, that's on. We've got our out-of-state bed, you saw that in process. And you see Jamie's over here working away at getting everything all buffed and cleaned up, touched up and polished. See, we got our cab corners on, our door repair that you saw when it was on the bench and upside down. Our new rocker panels are in, new fenders are on. Come out of the garage a little dirty, and we've got to put the work into them to get them all shined up and buffed up. See, we got our fender flares replaced and back on. Our frame's all been undercoated as you take a look in here with the wool wax. Nice looking truck. It's been quite a process, but it's worth it for this old Duramax. And then you see over here, this is the new paint that we put on this fender. Major difference. So what we're trying to accomplish is getting this all wet sanded and buffed and touched up. So it's going to wind up matching this up a lot better. Take a look over here on this side, what Jamie's up to. You see we're getting that to blend in a lot better.